I just wanted to talk a little bit about repetitive strain injuries and common irritations that RMTs have when they have a clinical practice, and say if they've been seeing quite a few clients in a week. One probably of the main concerns is that some RMTs talk about the use of their thumb, that they're using their thumb a lot to do, like trigger points into the body, or they're using reinforced thumbs, and over time the thumb itself, the joint itself, sort of suffers from that repetitive compression. So in previous videos, I've talked about being able to use your body behind the weight of your thumb, behind the weight of your fingers, behind the weight of, the heels of your hand, anything like that. Anything that you are trying to put pressure or drive pressure or, do myofascial release in any way, you want to have your pelvis and the rest of your body involved, right? Sometimes I see RMTs where they kind of fixate their body to the table and then work with their arms. That's a different sensation for the human on the table, as well as it's actually over time, it kind of puts the compression into the extremity, into the more distal joints, whereas you want that pressure and compression to actually be distributed throughout all the joints of the body. Wherever you have, something that's stopped, say you just lean in and don't have any action in your pelvis or throughout your spine, the curvatures of your spine while you're working, then you're kind of stopping motion. And what you want is motion to flow, right? Now, we all have right-handedness or left-handedness, and one of the things that I observed with my own practice over the years was that I would tend to start on the same side. I don't know if that's the same for you, Nikolai. Nikolai is the model today. He's an RMT as well. You get into these habits where you're always starting on the left side, and then when you go over to the right side and you try to do the same technique, sometimes with the elbows or the hands or whatever you're doing, feels a little more awkward. So I encourage you to try working on both sides, to even play games with yourself where during the day you might see one or two people where you start in a different way, and as well to start using different body positioning with your client. Often when I've taught my Feldenkrais fundamentals for functionally focused treatments, a lot of therapists have said, other than doing pregnancy massage, they're not really doing side-lying work. And side-lying work and, semi-reclined work, anything like, say, somebody laying on their stomach with their leg up, things like that, all give you sort of an advantage of releasing, some kind of muscle groups, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to see a Rolfer. Go to have a few Rolfing sessions, because Rolfers, although they do very deep work, very deep myofascial release, they are kind of the king of positioning. Like in one session, you would have multiple, moving around. And although it's very active, it's also, very effective. So I know that I was getting a massage in Vancouver probably a year or so ago, and this practitioner that was working with me, I said, wow, you've got a lot of technique under your belt. You're doing some very interesting things, and I'm finding it very satisfying this session. And she said that on her time off, she went for massages with other people around the city, and just gathered information, was just laying on the table being like a student, going, how is that movement? What are you doing? So I really encourage you to do that kind of thing, because professional development is expensive, and you can develop yourself professionally in ways that, are also beneficial to you physically.